So next up we have Catherine Armour from the Software Centre of Excellence in Satellite Applications.
And if she can use the link.
No, it should be, try this one.
Should have had some training, so some of you I already know. So I'm the director at Software Centre of Excellence, and we're located here at Goonhilly. But we're a partnership that's funded by the Satellite Applications Catapult, which is part of the Catapult initiatives through Innovate UK, which you might know is now UKRI. Our purpose is really, the purpose of the grant funding and the Catapult network is to stimulate those areas of the UK economy that the UK government has decided are going to see exponential growth through to 2030 and beyond. And the reason why we're down here, we're a network of 5 centres across the UK, so there are 5 others like us all the way up to Scotland, in areas where the government felt that there would be growth in the space and satellite sector, hence why we're down here. We're a partnership with Goonhilly being one of our key partners, but also the 3 universities that are in the region, and that becomes a bit important in a moment. So Falmouth, University of Exeter, and also Plymouth, as well as some industry partners that provide specialisms that we can leverage. At the moment, when we talk about the targets in the UK space sector, we know that the UK government is targeting 40 billion of a 400 billion market by 2030. If we look at downstream and upstream, and Gail's talked about her focus, the Centre of Excellence focuses particularly on downstream, so applications for satellite data and technology, the kind of things that you see every day in your car, from navigation to on your phone. And that market's going to be worth 25 billion by 2030 to the UK. So we're particularly focused on targeting that market, growth, jobs and opportunity in that area. So these are some of the stats that are behind that, and we know that the UK is looking at 30,000 new high-tech jobs by 2030, and as Gail said, we want a good crack at some of those down here in the southwest. Okay, that's really our mandate, that's what we're here to do. So we're essentially looking at how can we help entrepreneurs, startups, academics and high potential businesses grow their products and services based on satellite data and technology. We do 3 things, so stimulate, try and help you understand more about satellite data and technology and what it might mean for you and your business. Enable, so establishing research support, business support, networks, advice, that type of thing, and then grow. Now that's particularly about access to funding, whether it be grant funding, whether it be support for various competitions that are coming out, or even helping them put a case to Peter, for example, for the pots of money that he might have available locally. The right way. Just so that you know what this is based on, the UK has a good base of resource and assets that are available to those that are entering the satellite market or the space market. The UK Space Agency has a current budget of 250 million per annum. There's also a dedicated Space Leadership Council. The National Space Technology Programme, that was in the last call, that was worth 5 million, so you can start to see some of the investment that's happening across the UK in stimulating this part of the economy. In the southwest, it's even a better picture, I think. Ian just talked about some of the investment that's being made here in the site in Goonhilly, but also in his business. We know everyone's very cognizant of we're all waiting for the spaceport decision to be made imminently. Also, as Gail mentioned, we have the Air Hub Enterprise Zone that stretches across both Goonhilly Earth Station but also Newquay. A lot of support from the higher education facilities across Cornwall and the southwest for digital economy particularly, so that downstream area that I'm talking about, but also AI, data and robotics as well. Smart Specialisations, the book that's floating around with their 10 opportunities, very much smart specialisation in the old language, alignment with our areas of interest, which are marine and maritime, agritech, e-health and wellness, and more encompassing the digital economy. We've also got some great assets down here. So the Wave Hub Met Office are located in the southwest, and they're one of our partners if you're looking at using weather data, Exeter Science Park and Plymouth Marine Laboratory a little further up as well. But as I said, these are our three areas of focus, although we go broader to the digital economy. Are you working in the space sector? If you use any of these things, or these are the areas of growth. So 61% satellite services, as I said, 25 billion by 2030. We're going to see an increase of growth of 28% in consumer equipment associated with satellite data and technology. So when we used to see convergence in the telecommunications industry, remember you used to have a phone line at home, and it used to be separate to your internet, and it used to be separate to your set-top box. Well, that's convergence, and we're going to see that kind of thing happen in more consumer equipment as well, and we think that'll be worth 28% growth. Satellite manufacturing, which we know we're looking at how we might develop supply chains locally should spaceport, or when spaceport happens, I should say, and then of course launch services and all of the infrastructure and opportunity that's around that. If you're doing any of these three things, particularly those of you that are software developers, if you're using any APIs that embed this kind of service into your software, you're using satellite data and technology. So if it's anything around GPS, GNSS, APIs around that, you're looking at navigation, communication, if you're doing that through satellites, sensors, sensor technology, Internet of Things, any of that you're doing. If you're providing offshore services, any of that remote access, you're using satellite communications most likely, and Earth observation. So whether you're looking at pollution, whether you're looking at weather feeds, RSS feeds, those type of things, if you're counting sheep in your field or how many cattle are roaming across the landscape, then you're looking at Earth observation as well. If you're using agritech NDVI indexes, so trying to identify what plant species or how much your crop is going without actually going to those far extents of your farm, you're using Earth observation data. And all of those, I might say, most of the providers of those services have plug-in APIs that you can put into services if you're a software developer and deploying services, bespoke application development for clients. These are some of those things, to give you an example. So ocean monitoring, this is data that's provided by Planet, which actually comes in through here at Goonhilly. There's a service agreement there as well. This is one also done on Planet data, so looking at change pre and post events and for urban planning. This is a nice virtual water project because it doesn't show any maps at all, and I like satellite data when it doesn't show maps. So this is actually feeding the data through, doing the algorithms, providing the AI and the predictive analytics about how much crop usage of water and how much usage of water you've got, and that's an app that does that. Municipal planning, so something Cornwall Council could use perhaps. So this is all of the tree species that are in this particular municipality, and I think it's in Oxford, I think is that one. Dashboards, I'm sure many of you develop dashboards for plenty of clients, and they can be integrated, any of those data feeds can be integrated into dashboards that make more sense. This one was done by the Satellite Applications Catapult. You remember the Ebola breakout, so this tracked real-time breakout of the Ebola and then looked at hot spots for where that disease was going from and to based on weather as well, but then also mapping that to where there were facilities to be able to treat those people and where do resources doctors and nurses get deployed to during the Ebola breakout. This is one that's currently live, funded by Pew Charitable Trust, so looking at illegal fishing and tracking that through AIS feeds that each of the shipping vessels should have turned on their vessel, but we can use predictive analytics if they turn it on to look at their turn it off to look at their trajectory and look at where they're likely to be fishing, even though they say they're not really there. So lots of creative ways of using satellite data and technology. I don't know what's happened there for that slide, but basically some more consumer apps of using satellite data and technology. Tesla, of course, your autonomous vehicles or even vessels, we're seeing more of that, and some nice just travel apps. You know, you land in a city and you want to know what's the best restaurant to go to or the closest to your hotel, or how you might actually walk your way to your hotel from the taxi rank or something like that. So lots of applications, lots of thinking about how do we use this data to create products and services that will help perhaps bring people into Cornwall, but also employ those of us that are here already. Success in the Southwest, so what have we been up to? We've been going for 2 years, just under actually, but our funding period has just come up to 2 years. We've got another year ahead of us, and if we're successful, we'll get another 3 years of funding after that. One of the things we have been doing is we were funded also during this time to deliver space tech by the UK Space Agency. We delivered that twice, and it's a specific sort of boot camp accelerator just for those of you that are interested in applications using satellite data and technology, and that's front-ended with an introduction to all of the people in the space network who could help your business grow, but importantly it takes you through building the business case and finding funding opportunities for that business over a 3-day period. We've had 16 entrepreneurs go through that program to date, and altogether they've received 500k worth of follow-on investment. So that's not a bad number, and I know there's some people in the audience who can talk to you about their experience of having gone through that program. Altogether, outside of that, we've also raised in a year and a half, or just under 2 years, as I said, 1.75 million worth of funding for small businesses who've wanted to work in the sector. So that's through our various networks, generally funding that's come from outside of Cornwall into Cornwall in the southwest, UK, Innovate UK, ESA, UK Space Agency, those kind of funding opportunities that we've helped people raise and might get bids for. So we think we're pretty good at writing bids now. This one, don't know what's happening. Look it up because it looks way better than this. So this is one of the small businesses that's located in Cornwall who went on our space tech program. Paddle Logger, it's already got over 5,000 users. It's on the Apple App Store, and we're funding it to be, it's currently being redeveloped so it's Android compliant or compatible as well. And that's also going through a program where we'll start to receive weather feeds. So it's like Striver for paddleboarding, if you know what Striver is. It's a great app and great graphics on it as well. So if you're a creative, there's an opportunity to pair with someone who perhaps is a coder and come up with an app together. Ultramed is another one we helped Paul with his original strategic thinking and how he was going to position his product development, but more so how he was going to narrow it down enough to be able to take in what they say, follow the money, so take something into the market fairly quickly while he then developed other features and functionality around the app as well. He's now in 14 trusts across the UK. We gave him a 5,000 kickstart. He went on to raise 365,000 through crowdfunding, and as I said, he's in 14 NHS trusts as well. I won't play the film, but there's a great film with Paul talking about that on YouTube, I think it is. And most recently, we've now been so show me the money. So ESA, we've just been appointed as the regional ambassador for ESA. We'll be doing that until October 2019. They've invested 190 million euros in 500 businesses. You can get 60,000 to 2 million per grant. There's a number of calls out at the moment, including these. Starts from a kickstart through to commercialisation. You can get funding support. We're at the back of the room. Alison with her black t-shirt on, she's waving now, and we can talk to you about ESA funding that we can help you obtain. I won't go on, and that's who we are. So come and see us.